This video is on classification of matter. We talked about matter previously being anything that has mass and volume. So it's made up of stuff and it takes up space. So now let's talk about how we can classify it or put it in groups. And there are 4 different groups or classifications for matter. They are elements, compounds, heterogeneous mixtures, and solutions. Elements and compounds go together not partly, because they are pure substances. So that's the first thing to note, is pure substances for these two. Okay, meaning when I have elements or I have a compound, every piece in there is identical to every other piece in there. So elements are the simplest form of matter. When we talk about elements, they are atoms. Okay, so I'm going to say atoms are our smallest pieces. They're the simplest form of matter, meaning everything else that we're going to talk about, compounds, mixtures, solutions, they all have atoms in them. All right, we can't break these down in a lab. Okay, these can only be broken down in nuclear reactions. There's 118 elements. And I know there's 118, and you have a list, or you're going to get a list called your periodic table. Okay, on the periodic table. All right, so these are things that you are probably familiar with, a lot of them. Some of them, however, are going to be brand new. So you're going to have a periodic table. Look on there to see if it's an element. If it's on the periodic table, if it's an element. If it's not on there, it's not. And if you're unsure, check. So this would be something like, and you've seen some of these symbols before, but so something like carbon, right, is the letter C, or sodium, right, which is Na, or iron, which is Fe for its symbol. And we'll learn a whole lot more about these going forward. But for now, it's just, if it's on the periodic table, it's an element. All right, so compounds are also pure substances, but compounds are not single elements. They are elements that are chemically combined. So we can do chemical reactions to separate them or to combine elements to make a compound. All right, so they are elements that are chemically combined. Okay, so this would be something like sodium chloride, NaCl, table salt. Okay, or CO2, carbon dioxide. Okay, so what's interesting about compounds, or unique to compounds, is that they have new properties different from their elements. So different properties from their elements. For example, sodium chloride is 1 sodium atom and 1 chlorine atom. Sodium by itself, pure sodium, reacts with water. And you know that if you put salt in water, it just dissolves, okay? Pure chlorine, like chlorine gas, will make you suffocate. It was one of the war gases in the trenches in World War I. But together, they make something that your body actually needs, sodium chloride, salt, okay? So the next two go together in that they are not pure substances. These are mixtures, and they're both mixtures. We can have a heterogeneous mixture, which we just call a heterogeneous mixture. Sometimes we just call it a mixture, or a solution, which is also sometimes called a homogeneous or homogeneous mixture. So these are mixtures where you're going to have elements and compounds that are mixed together. They're not chemically combined like a compound, but they're all kind of in the same area. The difference between them is a heterogeneous mixture everything looks different. Okay, you can see different parts. Different parts are visible. Whereas in a solution or a homogeneous mixture, it all looks the same. That's where those terms heterogeneous and homogeneous come from. The prefix hetero means different. We get different parts. Different things are visible, different layers, different colors, different sizes, shapes. Solutions or homogeneous mixture, the prefix homo means the same. So that means everything looks identical. So some examples of this are like a heterogeneous mixture would be like a lot of food. So like a chicken noodle soup. Right? You can see the broth, you can see the noodles, you can see the chicken, maybe you have vegetables, you can see all of that in there. Like trail mix. Or a chocolate chip cookie, or a person. Like if you said, what's Miss Kaufman? I am a heterogeneous mixture. You can see different parts and colors on me. A solution, if it all looks the same, this would be something like salt water. Right? We talked about table salt as a compound. Water would be a compound, right? H2O. If you mix them together, the salt dissolves and it all looks the same. It's a solution. Kool-Aid would be a solution. Alloys would be a solution. Alloys are metals that are mixed together, like steel or bronze. Air, they don't just have to be solids or liquids. Air is a solution. There's different gases in the air. Sometimes we talk about air being a gas. Well, yes, but it's made of different gases like oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen. Those are all in the air around us, all mixed together, but it all looks the same. So those are the 4 classifications. We'll lay this out more and talk about it more in class with more examples.